Hey, how's it going, guys? Alright, so we're close to 2 weeks into version 3.4, and I have been scrambling to gather PRI-ARM upgrade materials, but I think it's been going okay. Initially, I had planned to forge Frozen Naraka first because, DPS and all, plus it looks really cool. However, I needed Mac Typhoon for the Memorial Arena, so I went with that instead. And here's something I've been hearing quite a bit after the update. Some players who broke through the level limit seem to have been struggling with the Memorial Arena in the Exalted tier. And to be completely honest, I thought I was going to do badly as well, but I ended up staying in the 0.2% range, so, phew, made it, I guess. But yeah, here's the thing, it's not just one player who's going through all this stuff, everyone in the same range is gonna be struggling as well. So if you were able to maintain the standard that you had before the update, you should be doing fine. Granted, there might be a few new hurdles to jump over, but it shouldn't be that hard to adapt to because it's just like when we had new bosses added to the Memorial Arena, or there were new combinations which locked away some key equipment, and then we had to adapt to form new teams because some of our key Valkyries or equipment were locked away somewhere else, and we had to look for substitutes and stuff like that. So it's basically the same thing, it's just on a higher level, but it's not going to be so hard that you won't be able to play the game. And for me, it just feels a little bit like how it felt back when I was level 70, when I first reached level 70, and got into Masters, and it was like a whole new thing, but you get used to it, and eventually it's gotta be okay. Alright, so with that all said and done, we're gonna look into the PRI-ARMs. And if you've already broken through, chances are you have the Valkyries these weapons were made for, namely Lightning Empress and Memento. My Lightning Empress is at SSS, while my Memento is sadly only at S, and I don't really have a lot of fragments, so I think that made sense that I went for Mac Typhoon first. Now, I think it's a really good idea to equip yourself with at least one of these two, whichever works better for you, or even better if you could forge and max both of them, which would be ideal. But to do that, we'd require two fully upgraded katana that you either no longer need or can be replaced with the PRI-ARMs. So naturally, most people would choose to use Max Storm or Ice Epiphyllum. Then you need to obtain the upgrading materials, which would require a lot of normal upgrade materials anyway, like a bunch of phase shifters and weapon resonance or Honkai cubes. Also, having a buttload of Astrite is definitely going to help you out. While there are ways to farm for the materials, it is going to take a long time, so I strongly advise gathering whatever you're able to speed up the process. Anyway, besides the base needing a fully upgraded weapon, the cost of each upgrade on an existing PRI-ARM is actually pretty close to what a normal weapon would require. The hardest to obtain is of course the Einstein's Taurus, but it's basically just the Honkai Cube. So if you have enough AE Imaginons, you could exchange it for a weapon, salvage the weapon, use the cube to buy the weapon resonance that can eventually be used to obtain Einstein Taurus. If you have a gacha weapon that you don't need, you can convert them to get the resonance right away, and then proceed to buy the Taurus. So it's just a few additional steps, but basically the same thing. Thankfully for me, I did a 10 random pull while I was out because, had a little time to kill while traveling, and it got me Max Storm. So a weapon that, after so many pulls throughout my history in Honkai Impact, I have never obtained. Like seriously, not even once. How is that even possible? Anyway, I was already prepared to forge it, so that means I save that 150 AE Imaginons, but it also presents me with a dilemma. Do I sacrifice some other katana, or do I upgrade the Max Storm to use as a base? If I upgrade it, I'll need to somehow obtain 3 more Honkai cubes. So I'm not gonna decide on that. If you guys have an opinion on whatever I should do, feel free to share it in the comments down below, or you could join our Discord server, and the link is in the description. Okay, so now we're done with that, let's move on to the Memorial Arena. To be honest, I thought I was going to do terribly in the first week of the Memorial Arena because I was actually not equipped for it. So my first try on Hephaestus was with Valkyrie on Lightning Empress. I hadn't forged any of the PRI-ARMs yet, despite actually having the materials for him. So Yeah, it was pretty bad, but then I forged Mac Typhoon, went in for a rerun, and got a much better score than the first try. So, I mean, the first round that I did was just to kind of get a feel of the new tier, and surprisingly, it wasn't actually as bad as I had anticipated. And I could have scored better with Raikiri, but, you know, given the way Hephaestus acts, it was going to be a little harder. So why we go with Mac Typhoon is because it gives your Lightning Empress a 100% chance to apply conductivity, whereas if you don't have it, it's going to be 40% as per her own skill. So yes, you might lose out on the damage that Raikiri can provide, but you save a lot of time, especially like rolling for the RNG, because if it's only at a 40% chance, we have experienced times where you complete like the 5 combo sequences, because on the 5th hit, it's a guarantee, but other than that, it's only going to be 40%, and you actually need the conductivity on the first hit to actually have a consistent fight. If it were Masters, it'd be fine because we probably only have to apply conductivity once or twice, but here in a drawn-out fight, you really don't have the luxury of doing that, and that's why people go for Mac Typhoon. Also, if I had the ability to fully upgrade Mac Typhoon, I would have gone for Lightning Empress as the DPS, making use of the Judah debuff, and that would also have gotten me a better score, but what I did got me back into the 0.2% range, and I was pretty happy with it because it was on the last day, so my score, my position wouldn't have moved too much anyway. So the first round was just to get a feel, like I said, of the new tier, and then I went for Shadow Knight because she was the only one that I used a physical setup on, so I had a lot of freedom in the equipment that I used, and I didn't really have to worry about who I was locking or what I was locking on this boss, so I just decided to do it first. And I went with Kafka, TNM, and Michelangelo B on Umbral Rose because Kafka is just insanely strong right now. But personally, I did not roll the affixes, so it wasn't optimal in that sense. And if you roll your affixes properly, I believe you can get up to 30,826, 30826. But yeah, I don't always go for my affixes. I did go for it on my Herrscher of Reason, so she has pretty good attack values. But other than that, I didn't really work on it for most of the other Valkyries. So that's why, if you might notice, my Herrscher of Reason and Herrscher of the Void are actually significantly stronger than my other Valkyries, even though they're not at SSS. But also in general, the Herrscher battlesuits themselves are, just stronger. And last of all for MHT, most of the top tier players went with Frozen Naraka, but I think you actually require a double S memento, so mine's only at S. I didn't really want to go all the way just to try it out, so I stuck with this team because the execution seemed rather easy. It wasn't as easy as I thought it would be because of how MHT moves around the battlefield. It's really annoying. But yeah. And by the way, this is not the actual run. The actual run was 28480. That was my final score. It wasn't even in like 0.2% on MHT, but the other two runs that I did, on the other two bosses, kind of pushed me up into 0.2% overall. And I think I got lucky because I guess everyone was still finding their way in the new tier, and I just managed to like squeeze back in with a score that wasn't even like super good. So yeah, it was really fortunate on my end. I really pushed only on like the last 2 hours of the Memorial Arena for that week, but I wasn't too worried about it either because I knew that I wasn't too far off. Like, I just forged Mac Typhoon and I checked my score and I wasn't too far from 0.2, so I knew that with Mac Typhoon the score would be a lot of difference from when I did it with Raikiri. And so I just went back in and did it and got back into 0.2%. And then we're here at this week, which is a really good week for me. I finally got Flame Sakitama to SSS. I know a lot of people have gotten her to SSS a long time ago, but I kind of stopped farming her for a short period of time, or rather, quite a long period of time. I don't know why I did that, but you know, finally she's at Triple S. I'm really happy about it. I also got Night Moonbeam to Triple S. And I also got Mag Typhoon fully upgraded. And for this week in the Memorial Arena, so far I used Drive Kometa, Celestial Hymn, and Twilight Paladin on Jizo Mitama. My Twilight Paladin is now at double S, 5-star augment. It'd be nice if she was at triple S, but I'm still quite far away from that. Thankfully I did get quite a few like Valkyrie Executor fragments, and I got 2 character cards before this, so that's why she was at triple S without me even pulling from the expansion supply. So unfortunately, I could have gotten a way better score with this run, but as you can see here, I waited way too long to switch the Celestial Hymn in. I don't know what I was thinking. I think it was like the first time I reached like this part of the run. You know, you have to be prepared for what comes later, and I was pushing the first part because you have to keep rolling for it to not use the dash attack at least. And ideally, you'd wanted to use the triple slash, which is what I got, but I don't know. In the moment, I just kind of forgot where I was going with that. It was the first time reaching that part of the run, and I decided to keep the score. I might push a little further in the week, but I don't know. So next up we have Benares, and a lot went wrong in this fight. So, I don't know where to start. Okay, so first of all, with Benares, if you don't already know this, you want a sub DPS that's of one element, and then your main DPS of another element, and that's why this team is quite commonly used. Nowadays, with stronger ice elemental units, people use those as well, but without those, you could probably rely on this. It's a really reliable team, but my problem in general is the affixes on my Stigmata. They're not optimized, especially for Phoenix. So Phoenix's ulti, it was supposed to take out more than half of the first HP bar on Benares, but what that generally means is that I'm not doing enough fire damage to always force it into its fire form. So that causes me to have to retry to fight more often. Also in general, the overall HP of Benares is higher, so that might need like one more rotation just to take it out. And last of all, it's actually really annoying to deal with like the fire form of Benares because it flies around. So what I could have done was to reroll for it to do a ground slam, and my combo would have been more fluid, and I would have gotten like maybe 300 to 500 more points. But since I already had to reroll more often, I decided not to. And last of all, the Heasha of the Void. So this boss is where people use Memento as well. I now have the materials to forge Frozen Naraka, but unfortunately for me, my Memento is still at S rank. Fortunately though, I did get Night Moonbeam to triple S. So initially I was buying like Night Moonbeam and Lightning Empress fragments from the Memorial Arena, the War Treasury. And then Lightning Empress got to triple S, so then I switched up to Night Moonbeam and Phoenix until Violet Executor was added, and then I bought Violet Executor and Night Moonbeam instead. So now that Night Moonbeam is at triple S, that frees up the spending, and I'm going for Memento and Violet Executor, so it's just a matter of time, but it's gonna take a while because I think I'm at like 57 over 250, so it's gonna take a really long time. So yeah, I haven't done like a vlog-ish video in quite a while. I realized that I've been doing a lot of overviews and stuff like that, so it's been really expository and maybe a little dry on the channel, so I decided to do something like that, just to keep up with stuff, and I think it's pretty fun. Also, I don't have to do a lot of editing, so the video comes out pretty quickly. I don't have to spend too much time on it. Although, at the point of recording this, I didn't really have time to do anything else. I just did a few tries, got the run, and then that's why you see me at this position in the Memorial Arena. Usually I'll drop to like 25 to 60 maybe. Yeah, this is pretty early, so most of the video was already done, and all I had to do was add it to the rest of the video. So if you guys enjoyed this video, I'll be doing pretty much the same thing for my Chinese account, which is completely F2P, so you can just have a look at how I'm building it, where I'm spending my crystals, and it's not necessarily the right thing to do with a new account, but it's what I did, and I hope to kind of share it with you guys. So if you're looking for a place to be chatting in, I know the chat might be slightly less active at the moment. The Discord server is always open. Check for a link in the description down below. Head over there and make the place more lively. But in the meantime though, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. This has been MG, and I will see you guys soon.